Yeah, g'day. So today I'm just going to take you through some of the simple measuring tools, bits of equipment, tape measures, long tape measures, 3-foot rule, carpenter's rule, just a few finer points on about them and just different ways of using them. Yeah, tape measures come in a variety of sizes, different lengths, different makers. I tend to go for a good quality. I've always gone for a good quality tool. A couple of real simple little things about the tape. First of all, this is an 8-metre tape. It's about 23 millimetres wide. It's got a clip to go under your belt, so you clip a side on your belt. Got a little button, basically allows it to hold it in or let it retract. The end is also an important little part of the tool because it allows you to either butt up to a piece of timber or overhang, and I'll just give you a few little examples of that on a few close-ups. The builder's tapes in the building game, everything is measured in millimetres and metres. So you'll measure 10 mil or 100 mil or 352 mil or 1 metre 200, which is 1200 mil, or 1.2 metres. Everything is measured in metres in the building game. Not a little part about the different tapes. This is only about a 23 mil one that I use for doing close-up type of work, so that if I'm working on a bench close and haven't got to go too far. This one is basically exactly the same, except it's got a little magnet on the end because I was using this when steel fixing, and or it's good for if you want to hook it up to pass it to you're doing a shed, say for instance, onto a piece of metal that you need to measure over there or measure from there to somewhere else and you haven't got someone to hold it. Yeah, a magnet helps. This is a 26 millimetre wide tape, and what that allows is for it to go further out, to extend further before it actually, and there's about 3100 and it still hasn't dropped away. If I go a bit further, you'll see, well, there's actually 3500, 3.5 metres, so that you can actually, before it's actually dropped, there's a bit more, about 3800, 3.8 metres it's dropped. But that allows you to extend it out, hook it over a piece of timber or whatever it is, the other end. If you haven't got someone else there to help you out, hook it over the end without it falling away. Whereas the 23 metre tape goes to, that's about 2400, 2.4 metres. At 2500, 2.5 metres, it tends to drop. So you need to walk away, hook it over and then come back. Okay, so then we've got the 30 metre tapes, two types here. I've got a steel one. Pretty much they won't stretch, they hold their shape, whereas the material one tends to stretch over time, and yeah, it's probably not as accurate. Not that that's important really, but okay. On the 3-foot rule, I like the one with the bevel on the edge. It's got a bevel on this side, and I'll show you a bit of a close-up. Basically, it allows you to get close to measuring, whereas a flat side or the other side, you can be out a bit. Nothing real critical, but I've found that the closer you are to your measuring, the better you are, the better the job, easier to read as well. The width of the blade is 18mm, which is about the same thickness as a kitchen cupboard type material, melamine, etc. So that you can basically mark an upright or a wall or a division. Whereas the thickness of it is about 5mm, which is generally about the architrave gap around a window or a door. Another use is, say I want to measure something 90mm and I want to parallel it. So here it is, I've got 90mm, holding my finger to the on the 90, making sure that I keep the 90 there, and there it is. There's a nice parallel line, 90mm. Okay, you can actually do the same with a measuring tape. Same idea. This is where, so in this case, I wanted to go 100mm past that 90mm. I go 190, holding it there, pencil on the end here. Okay, so as far as this little, the end, and this one's got 3 little rivets that allow it to move backwards and forwards. That allows me to either hook it over and measure. So here I am, I'm measuring 300. Or if it was butted up to something, this little end moves back the thickness of itself, and there's the 300. Same position. So it's either hook it over or butt it up to it. The movement in that end allows it to be accurate both ways. There's a piece of measuring equipment that I use for rough estimates. And when I say rough, it's just to give an idea. Say if you wanted to move, say set this piece of timber up so far from that end, just do it roughly before you clamp it or fix it, however you want to fix it, and before you properly measure it. I found that my parts of my body, okay, so I found that the end of my fingers, the 2 fingers, are actually 40mm. The thick part here is 50mm. 3 fingers, the tip is 60 odd mil. That there is 70mm. Okay, so there I've got 90mm from this finger to that finger, and then from the palm I've got 100mm, roughly 100. Overall span of my hand, now everyone's hand will be different, is 230, which is basically the length of a brick. The end of my elbow to my fist is 400. To the end, overall, is 500. From the center of my body to the tip of my finger is 900. So overall, my tip is, from tip to tip finger, is 1800. Okay, so longer pieces of timber, just a little trick. Generally what I've done in the past is I've used a saw just to put a saw cut into the piece of timber that I'm using. Now I can put my tape into that saw cut and it'll hold it there nicely, hold it tight, so I don't need a second person to hold or whatever. Then I'll go through, I'll just mark wherever I need to, in this case possibly a top or a bottom plate, or whatever. Okay, so I'm just showing you the distance between a narrow tape and a thick tape as to how far they'll extend before they fall. And just a saw cut and a piece of timber to hold the tape. Now just showing where the finger is used as a guide, as a parallel with the rule or with the tape. This is just showing the beveled edge that I use for accuracy. A bit closer to see, easier to mark. And then once again, here's the tape measure being held onto a mark, parallel line drawn. Just showing underneath how to hold the tape with the finger. Okay, so different pieces of measuring equipment, how to use them, couple of little tricks. Bob's your uncle, but I'm Ian.